to this free business workshop. My name is Angelica Stanley. If you are watching live, be sure to drop in the comments and let me know where you are watching live from. Today's workshop is being hosted on YouTube at Angelica Stanley. You can search Angelica Stanley on there. Also on our business Well Valley page, and then my personal Facebook page. Okay, so let's get this started. Your message and your offer. So today, if you're trying to get your message out and you're trying to do business, now there are so many ways that you can possibly get this done, but what I found is the most simplistic way for you to get this done is actually turning your story into income. Because let's face it, with YouTube University and everybody knowing the right way to do something, I believe that you have a message and you have a story and you've overcome things, you've faced things, you have a skill, you have a gift. So we're not going to bury those here, okay? So every Wednesday, 4:30, I know I'm running a little late, change of routine and stuff this week, but thank you for your patience. But we will be live, okay? So you'll get the notification, all of that great stuff. It'll be here. You can catch the replay later. As long as you get the notification, it'll show up. If you are brand new and you are interested in learning more about what we have to offer, I want to encourage you to go to wellvalley.org/workshops, and you can learn how we can help you online and in person at Westgate Community Center, where we focus on foundations, clarity, and business basics, okay? So enough about that. What we're going to start on right now is how to turn your story into income, but we're going to look at it from the perspective of your message and your offer. Now, because we are doing that, it is a free workshop, okay? It is a free workshop. You can literally take this and take action and start a business, okay? Majority of my clients, the reason why they struggle, we're going to talk about that with some lies and misconceptions about what needs to happen in a business, right? I'm not talking about hustle. I'm talking about truly working from a place of peace and not chaos, okay? Again, the goal is to take you from idea to income in 6 weeks, okay? Majority of my clients, we work on cash flow, we work on getting the consistency to do that, and we start doing that with doing what? Building consistency, because consistency is what separates thinking from building, okay? So if you're coming back here, that matters, okay? That's the start. Entrepreneurs thrive, cash-driven or sustained entrepreneurs, money flow coming in, thrive on consistency. Tell me what you constantly do all the time, and I'll tell you where the money will be, where the harvest. Sometimes it's not about the money. Sometimes it's about showing up, right? Sometimes it's about doing the unexpected. Sometimes it's about doing something not in fear, because we don't do things scared here. I'm sorry. I know that's kind of like a mental health narrative lately, but we don't do things scared here. We do things in a power, love, and a sound mind, okay? And those require clarity, okay? And faith to move forward and do those things, right? That you believe you can do. So you didn't just hear it, you're acting on it, okay? This is how things start to shift. Now, today, we're going to be getting clear on 3 things: your message, your offer, and how the two connect. Because there is a huge misconception in the online space of everyone telling you this is the best way to do this, this is the best way to do that. But I'm going to tell you something. What you say, what you sell, they connect. And there's a certain bridge point that if you don't have clarity in your offer or in what you're going to say, they're not going to work. Everyone's wanting to lead you with get clear, or go here, do this, do that. I'm going to tell you, this is why you have to get an understanding of your starting point through your story, right? Your skills, your gifts, all of that great stuff. So, one of the things that I wanted to share with you that is super, super important is the real problem of getting stuck, right? It isn't a lack of ideas. I want you to raise your hand or drop a one in the comments if you're not short on ideas. Okay? So if you have thousands of ideas, you know what I'm talking about. All of these great ideas. Too many ideas, no clarity, no structure, so nothing gets finished. The problem isn't that you don't have the idea coming in. The problem is, do you have the consistency to push that seed forward? Okay? Simple question. A lot of times it's because we don't have a certain skill set, and that's what these workshops are all about. To teach you business basics that are legit, what the gurus and everyone do consistently at a higher level, right? So it's taking that, growing, being faithful with that, and growing, and going to the next, and going to the next, taking out what is not working and putting in something, trying it, being able to take risk with clarity, okay? And for my faith driven, Jesus loving believers, in obedience, okay? The shift is important, and it's here because you don't need ideas, okay? You don't need more of them, is what I should say. The thing that you need is a clear message and a simple offer, right? And that is all coming from, what is your message? Your message equals what you say, okay? So who do I help? Right on the top of your mind, like right there, tell me who you help. I help, excuse me. I help high functioning, high driven, okay, corporate career women, the leaders. I help them, okay? How do I know I help them? Because I'm a recovering high functioning, okay? And I've gone through a lot of things. I've healed through a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things, but it didn't stop my gifts and my talents. I just got rid of all the other stuff that wasn't important for me to function at that level and capacity that God created me to be, right? So what do I help them with? I help them get it together. I help them simplify organization, planning, events, different things like that. Why? Because they steward a lot. Okay? Why does that matter? Well, they steward a lot. And it matters because no vision, no job, no career, no anything outside of your home and your priorities should drain you away from that. Okay? That's my message. So I understand there's seasons where you got to do certain things and you got to go. But hey, we have to learn that if our message and what we're saying all the time is reaching or resonating with that one particular person, guess what happens? They're starting to get a glimpse of who you truly are behind the scenes. That's why your message is so important. Moving on. Where your message comes from, okay? Your message comes from what you've been through, what you've overcome, what you've learned. And I put this as the fourth one because this is a timing, okay? This is all about timing and the appropriate time, right? What you're going through. A long time ago, I heard Priscilla Shire during a Bible study. She said there's three types of people: the person going into the storm, the person in the middle of the storm, and the person coming out of the storm. I said, wow, that is so powerful. And then in that moment, I heard, what about the person that doesn't even recognize they're in a storm? And I was like, oh my goodness. So that is how the 4 steps came, because where your message comes from is, what have you been through? What storms? What things have you gone through? Betrayal. Maybe you went through a disease. You came out of that healthy living. Maybe you lost weight. Maybe you are homeschooling, right? Maybe you got in a tragic car accident, and you have overcome so many things that way. What have you been through? Have you been through debt? Have you been through poverty? Have you lost a child? Have you grieved or, lost a spouse? Are you divorced? Are you all of those different things, right? That come to kill, steal, and destroy and to stop us, right? What have you learned from those things? What have you learned? Have you learned a new way of living? Have you learned a more sustainable and effective way of enjoying your life, right? What did you have to overcome? One of the assignments that I want to give you, and just to drop this here, is I want you to take time to just write your overcome list. This is the most powerful thing that we do inside of Prep to Publish, where I help you actually learn the skills to self-publish. We do the writing portion, but then we also do like the business stuff, what I'm teaching you here, but it's all succinct and in order. It's clear, concise, and it helps you build that consistency that you need in order to be confident and go out and, and speak and help and serve and do all these things, whether it's free or, paid, or it doesn't matter, right? You can go and multiply those talents that you have, that you've gone through, instead of burying them, right? So writing your overcome list allows you to build that encouragement. Like, wow. Right? Now, I believe that we overcome this world by the blood of the Lamb and by the power and the word of our testimony. So when you're going through something and you haven't processed what you've overcome or processed your story, how are you going to have power in what you're speaking when you have to remind the enemy, if God did it then, he's going to do it again, right? If everything was pointing to Jesus said that he was going to come, he came as a baby in a manger, and then they thought he left, but then he rose on the 3rd day, praise God, okay? And now he's coming back as the Lion of the tribe of Judah, right? Now he's coming to judge. So if he said it then, and we had experiences, and it's going to happen again, we are safe to say that if he helped you through the sickness, if he helped you with your relationship, if he helped you in your marriage, in your health, or your finances, or your career, or your job, or whatever debilitating thing that stopped you, if he did it then, why would he stop? That's the overcome. That's how we overcome this world, by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. Now, here, because I don't want to stay too much longer on this, but what you're going through right now, you might be experiencing something that is devastating, heartbreaking, and you're really clinging on like, okay, I don't know if I can do this. Go back to what you've already gone through. Go back through the process, okay? If you haven't noticed, I'm not just teaching you how to do business. I'm teaching you how to coach, how to mentor, how to minister. Why? Because you were created for such a time as this. You have a message inside of you. With the world and the way things are going right now, I find it not strange that you are here today, chosen for this time of us seeing the things that we're seeing. I find it not strange. So here's the important part. For this activity, I want to share this with you because I think this is so important for us to really just navigate. Okay, I'm going to do 2-minute timer. For us to truly navigate getting clear on what we offer. So before we can offer, like, who are you called to help? Who are you called to support? Like, and not support, like do it for them, but like be a Ben and Hur when Moses was like, okay, if I leave my hands up, like, how can you be a Ben and Hur for Moses? Right? How can you be a Caleb with a Joshua, or Joshua for a Caleb? Okay? How can you be a Ruth to a Naomi and a Naomi to a Ruth? Okay? We're going to take some time. We're going to do 1 minute for the sake of time. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. And we're going to do 1 minute. And I just want you to answer this question. All right. Okay, so our time is up. We are here. We're rocking and rolling now. So now that you have this, I'm not going to mess with this anymore. Okay? I'm not going to mess with this anymore. What we're going to do, oops, excuse me. So what we're going to do is transition right into examples. I help busy moms organize their homes so they can feel at peace. And maybe it was because you went through a horrific, sickness, and maybe, decorative design and decluttering and all of these things just really helped you work out all of those anxious feelings, right? That you had while doing and going through the process that you went through, right? Another one is I help women heal from past trauma so they can move forward. Maybe you were tired of feeling stuck, and you were tired of, feeling like you couldn't get ahead when it came to faith, family, and business. So you started to do some deep inner healing and addressing the roots. Like in the Bible where it talks about the sycamore tree, the bitterness, the anger, the resentment, right? All of those things from things that happened to you maybe when you were a child, maybe when you were a teenager, or significant invasion is what I like to say. Sometimes it feels like an invasion. Like, this came into my life, it happened, it was traumatic, and I didn't realize how much it set me off course, or how much I just stayed stuck in this, right? And so because you overcame that, and because you went through that, you look through your journals, you look through a certain process and all the things that you did, and we package that. And you give a woman who is struggling in her career, maybe you specialize with women who have children or a child with the disability, right? So they have their own traumatic events, and then something happens, and where their child is, maybe it's anxiety at school, ADHD, whatever it may be, right? All of these different things for the child. And you're like, wait a minute, no, I'm going to work on this. And then so you start doing these different things. And then all of a sudden you start to see the breakthrough in your child. You start to see the breakthrough in yourself. And you start talking to those around you, right? And you say like, hey, have you thought of this? Or have you, and people are like, oh, wow, this helped me so much. And you start to realize, wait a minute, I went through that, and because I processed it, I have some understanding, I have some clarity. So I'm able to have a conversation with someone and navigate them. I'm going to package this. Okay? The next thing is, which I think is super, super important for us to understand, is that you're clear on what is an offer. Okay? Excuse me. So your offer equals what you sell. Okay? So it's how you help someone solve a problem. It's how you create transformation. It's how you get paid. Okay? They do it all the time. They send you to go to become a mental health counselor and hear about all of these people with theories and what they went through and all of that kind of stuff. And they make you pay for education. It's a business frame. It's all to make money. Now, I'm not knocking it, but I want you to hear me clearly. If you take out, and I'm not knocking education because I believe we have to get wisdom and understanding, we have to do certain things, but we also have to understand where we're getting our wisdom from. Because I've heard and met women and myself, like I didn't need a PhD to help someone get set free from trauma. I didn't need an accolade, a trophy, an award to help a woman feel better about herself because we started decluttering her house. I didn't need that. What I needed was understanding on how it was going to help this person solve a problem. Okay? What I needed is a framework, which I give you, on how to package that authentic, unique transformation so that you can get paid. Drop a one in the comments if you're like, I need to hear this. So here are some common lies. What people think they need. They think they need a full business plan. They think they need a full-on website. They think they have to have everything figured out. And that is why they never start. Okay? I was guilty. Hi, my name is Angelica, and I am a former, I have to have everything figured out. Figured out. Okay? Like, no. When you're an entrepreneur, you'll have an event or you'll be working with someone and you'll be, doing all these things, and you can't control this, like the person's day. Like you all of these different things happen. Like it's life. Life be lifing. You can't predict how a person is going to respond with your methodology until you've done it. You can hear other theories, you can hear other experiences, but it's your anointing. It's your oil. Don't waste oil on a business plan and a website and getting everything figured out when you can give it to someone that's going to appreciate it. Now, I'm not saying you have to use, like, you do have to use those things to get this stuff done, but I'm trying to give you the understanding of how much these common lies can keep you stuck, right? Now, there's oil, and then there's the extra oil. We want to be the women and the men, the bride of Christ, that has that extra oil, okay? And please hear me when I say this. I believe that when you get the clarity and you get the confidence and you get the consistency in what you're called toward your authentic self, right? You can take accountability on things and you can steward abundance. The business plan, the website, everything, it's all going to paint itself out because you're going to take action. So here's the truth. You only need one thing. One simple way to help someone. That's your offer. My kids, we're doing an entrepreneur class for a homeschool. Okay. Yes, I homeschool my kids. And I love it. It's the best thing. Like, it's hard, but I am so thankful and blessed. I have learned so much. And I feel like I'm getting time that I'll never regret. Like, I'm not going to turn around and be like, oh, I should have never homeschooled my kids. Like, I'm never going to feel that way. Right? Why am I telling you this? Because I work with women. I come across so many women that are career driven and oriented, and they're struggling, not because they can make money, not because they have a calling, not because of that, because they feel like they've neglected and abandoned their children. That they've allowed others to raise their children, and they're so far into the system that they're seeing their child become a part of a system that they know God is pulling them out of. The Bible says, come out from among her. Right? So you only need one thing. So when I'm working with clients and their struggle is, I know I'm called to do this business, but I really, really just want to do this business so that I can spend more time with my kids. I said, okay, let's start homeschooling. What? But we're talking about business. Yeah, but we got to be about our Father's business. Mary was at the cross of Jesus. Catch it. Mary was at the cross of Jesus and watched him do, and she raised him in the way that he shall go, so that when he is older, he will not depart from it. When he was in the temple being young and thought he was, got lost and all that and thought he could go do what he wanted to do, what happened? She was like, no, it's not your time. And then the wedding at Cana came and she was like, go do this. It's time. Okay. Women have such a significant role in being a mother. It is the biggest, most blessed ministry you will ever have next to being a wife. So if you're struggling with doing your business or doing those things, it's more than likely, and this is my testimony. Okay, let me just be real on here because I'm like really speaking my testimony right now. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. But my business didn't take off until I was 100% in my home, because that's what God called me to do. I'm not saying that he's calling you to homeschool. Like, I don't know you 2 ways from Sunday, right? Like, we just met. So what I'm telling you is, the truth is that you only need one thing. But if you can't get that one thing done in a simple way to help someone, that's because there's a lot of stuff holding you back. And that's what we have to address. So 3 ways to start is a service. Just see. Just see if it works, right? Where you help someone directly, or a digital product, a guide, right? A workbook. True testimony, like, had clients in transition and they're like, we're going to start homeschooling. I got to put my business on hold. All this stuff. My kid is struggling. Her daughter was struggling in school because there's bullying and all of these different things. And she was just like, I'm so stressed at work because like it's just too much for me and it's hard for my child. So she's like, I'm gonna homeschool her, but then I'm gonna have to leave my job. And I was like, why are you gonna have to leave your job? And she's like, I'm explaining to you how services and digital products and books, okay? So stay with me how I'm teaching. This is real life, right? So we're having this conversation and she's like, well, how am I going to homeschool? I have to be homeschooled. Like they have to be in school from like, 8 in the morning till 4 o'clock and I have to work. And I was like, who said that? And she was like, well, it's school, right? And I said, no, it's homeschool. And I said, so how long are your kids in school? And she's like, well, they go from 7:40 in the morning. They're like up at 5 o'clock. And then they have this all the way to the end. And then I have to pick up my daughter and then all this stuff. And she was saying all this stuff. And I was like, wow, my kids get up at like 10, 9 o'clock. And if they get up at 8, then we have class, at 9. If they get up at 10, we have it at 11. If they get, because sometimes we practice and late and, we're working on something or family time. And she was like, wait, what? And I said, well, yeah, they're growing. Like their child development is very important. And I said, let me go ahead and send you this 3-step process to transition your homeschool, your public to homeschool. And it was just a PDF that I had and created a long time ago. It's a resource list. I sent it to her. I said, just start reading through it. The links, start researching. It's guided research, right? Great. That's amazing, right? All this stuff. Didn't hear from her for about 4 or 5 days. I messaged back. I said, hey, girl, did you get a chance to look through that PDF? She's like, oh, girl, I just have to get 180 days for the school and I have to file this and I just do that. And I can set my school hours as long as they get this and they get that. And I said, uh-huh. She's like, well, what happens if my daughter finishes all her work? She's very studious. She loves to read. She's just struggling with the socialization type of stuff. And I said, well, is there like a community center? Or maybe she likes violin, or does she have a sport or something that you can put her in? And she was like, uh-huh. Is there church function? She was like, yeah. And I said, so you put her into programs that fit her? And she goes, wait, so we can do this? And I'm like, yes, like you can do this. And I used a digital product. It was a simple offer. And now she's working on like selling digital products because she's a genius and she creates curriculum. Okay. And she does certain things. And so she's amazing. I helped her transition and I used services. I said, yeah, well, just click here, book a call. She became a client, right? This is real life. This stuff works, but you have to know what you have in your bag. You have to know what talents you have, right? And you get that clarity. So the connection of it is message plus offer work together. Your message is what you say. That conversation when she was asking, I was just having a real legit conversation with her. Your offer, what you sell. I offered her a resource because she was so overwhelmed and so stressed and just like beside herself. She was struggling at work, all of this. She was like, I've gained weight because my mind and just all this stuff, we're eating out more, all of these different things. And you know what? Like I provided her a resource, a source Okay. I didn't tell her what she needed to hear. I gave her an opportunity to see what was possible. You can't see it, but it says, faith, it does not come by things, it makes things easy, but it makes things possible. That's the business I'm in. I'm very solution focused. I'm very like leader, let's get it done. If there's a problem, there is a solution by the blood of Jesus, okay? By the grace of God. So she had a problem and I was able to be that solution. But before I could let her see the solution, I don't want to tell her what she needs to do. She is smart enough and wise enough I can say, let me give you this in a digital product, or here, watch this YouTube video, or do this, because everyone's like scrolling, right? If they don't match, then there's confusion and you didn't help. Okay? So I want you to choose one. Ask yourself, what is one way you can help someone this week? And I want you to write it down. Okay? The next thing that I want you to focus on right now is to not overcomplicate these things. Okay? Keep it simple. You don't need 10 offers. You don't need perfection. You don't need all of that. You just need to start. Okay? And this is where I can come in to help you, because you can just start in 2 steps. Okay? So next week, we're going to turn this into something tangible. Okay? So don't miss next week. We're going to look at a book, a product, or a service. That's right. In 30 minutes, or it's a little bit longer because I was running late, but I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. What is possible. Okay. But I don't want you to leave this here. Okay. If you want my help and you want to take this workshop seriously and you want more support throughout the week, a group, a community, I want to invite you to the Biz Collective. Okay. It's building this step by step and staying consistent to actually launching. Okay. We're going to get clarity and focus. I have simple systems to help you. And it's through support and community. There's tons of I invite coaches in that I've worked with, or sisters that have grown, and we've done all these things because I want you to be able to turn your ideas into income without overwhelm. I work from a place of peace and not chaos. The way of my brain, my level of creativity, my level of functioning, and me getting things done, because I'll get it done in the name of Jesus. Okay. I have to work at a certain level. And until you figure out what that level is for you, because we're all different, we're all unique and fearfully and wonderfully made, it's good to have sisters where iron sharpens iron and you can learn, or brothers, right? Because I have brothers and sisters that do this as well. So don't leave it here. If you want help, we have all of the steps. This is inside of a school. Okay. I was led to open this up and to get this started right now, right in the first module. I'm building it. It's free. You can get in here for free. Okay. You get in here for free and I walk you through the process so that you are able to go from start to structure. So the free module inside of the Biz Collective is called Start to Structure, where I'm going to help you with a step-by-step plan, workshop support like this. Okay, so we have this workshop. I can't be on the comments all day long, but I can be in the school app and I can work with you and all that kind of stuff during my office hours. And if you need help, you can ask a question in one of the threads and we can communicate. Okay, that's how this works. So you're closer than you think. You don't need more ideas. What you need is clarity, action, and consistency. That's a problem, and I have the solution for you. I will teach you how to walk this out. I've done it since 2012, helping people, supporting leaders like you to get it together. Okay? To see things in a different perspective and allowing you to make the choice, because God gave you a choice for a reason. But if you aren't given the opportunity to see what is available, you could be following a wide path that leads to destruction. Okay? The road less followed is where thinkers go, where people want clarity, where people want ask questions, right? So, if this blessed you, thank you so much for being here. Click the link in the description of this and you can get inside or get on the wait list for the Biz Collective and all that kind of stuff, and I'll let you in and we'll go through the process. I love you. God bless you. I pray this encouraged you. Just take your steps, okay? Foundations, clarity, and biz basics, all right? I'll see you next week, God willing. And again, inside of the Biz Collective, you